Hi there and welcome to Orbit Crochet. I'm Karen and here we are going to make today this lovely washcloth. This gorgeous washcloth. This is made out of 100% cotton. Apart from my edging, for my edging I chose to use a cotton with a very delicate metallic thread in there. So it's got a little bit of polyester. But this is what I'm calling my easy peasy washcloth because it really is easy peasy to make. So for this tutorial I'm going to be using a craft cotton which gives me a slightly rougher finish. It is not fine cotton like you would use if you were making a top. And this one I'm going to use a 5mm crochet hook. You will also need a tapestry needle for weaving in your ends, a pair of scissors and a tape measure if you want to make sure yours is precisely square. Okay, let's move those things to the side. So I've chosen this cotton because I like it slightly rougher if I'm using it as a dishcloth, but I also like that scrubby exfoliating action for a washcloth. So we begin by making a slip knot. Now I'm going to chain 24. If you want yours wider, go ahead and chain some more. I'm doing 24, which results in approximately, let me get that in inches for you. Yeah, 20, between 7 and 8 inches, I think, depending on how tightly you do your stitches. I think mine ends up about 7.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to chain 24. So we yarn over and pull through. Now I find this first one a little bit stiff on this craft cotton. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got 24 there. Now, if you want to lay that out and measure it, now of course this is going to be probably your tightest row. So from here on you might have a little bit more size. So if you want that a bit bigger, let me just measure that in. So that works out about 17 centimeters. It's not quite 7 inches, is it? About 6.5. So if you want that bigger, just go ahead. I think I'm going to go up to 30. So for 24, 25, 26, 27 and 30. I think I'll be happier with it being a bit bigger. Okay, so we start off with our foundation chain of 30. I'm going to now go into the second loop from the hook, the second stitch from the hook, not this first one here, but this one. Okay, I'm going to go in and make a single crochet. Then I'm going to go in the next one, so pull up a loop, single crochet, single crochet, and in the next one, single crochet. Like I said, this is easy peasy. If you can chain and single crochet, you can make this face cloth or dishcloth. Okay, so single crochet all the way to the end of the row. I shall meet you there. I'm coming right up to the end there. I have 2 single crochets left to make. A little fiddly on that end one, and there we have it. That's our second row made. I really like this, and as I said, it's easy peasy. If you can do the single crochet, you're winning. So we chain 1 to go for the next round and turn. Then we go into that first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, we just repeat the last row. We are single crocheting into every stitch right the way across to create this washcloth. It's single crochet all the way along. You can do as many rows as you like. I actually quite like mine to be square. So this is where you want to use your tape measure and measure up what you've got there. Oh, it turned out in the inches side. That's good. Okay. What have we got? I've got to get this fella laying flat. Come on, you. Alright, so far we've got 8 inches, so that's great. We're going 8 inches with this one, so you're going to have to, or I'm going to have to as well, crochet for 8 inches all the way up the top there. Alright, so that's easy peasy, as we say. Just in there you're making single crochets. You go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, go in that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Just a little reminder. Okay, so really it's nice and easy peasy. I know you can do it, especially if you've followed me from the beginning with my how to crochet course. If you haven't, and you're stuck on this single crochet, then please click on my name, go back to my channel and take a look at the video that shows you how to make the single crochet. Of course, this is US terminology, which is becoming more and more common worldwide, and that's how I learned from an American lady, so I'm going to stick with that, because otherwise I'm just going to get myself confused if I keep explaining in UK and US terminology. So when you come to the end of that round, chain 1 and turn again. Remember, you will be putting a single crochet in that first stitch, because that chain does not count. Then you're going to continue on. My yarn just keeps wanting to be in the picture. Alright, you're just going to continue on and single crochet all the way along until your washcloth is as big as you want it to be. Okay, so let's keep working on that, and I will see you when I have finished and I've got my 8 inches square. Okay, see you soon. So now we've come to the end of the square, and let me just move that up a little bit, and I'm going to measure mine. It is 21 centimeters squared, and that is just over 8 inches there, about 8 inches squared. Of course, you can make yours much larger if you like. It can be any size you want. If you want it larger, or if you want it a 6-inch square, that's no problem whatsoever. So I'm just finishing up my last stitch there. I'm going to yarn over and pull through and snip it off there. Okay, just pull that through and tug it tight. So now I've got this, the last thing I need to do is to weave in all my ends and sew them in. Okay, so I'm going to just do that with this long end. One of the best things about making a long end is that when you weave it in, and you can go through these stitches, right through the middle of them, because it's all white and it won't get seen, we won't see it at all. One of the good things about weaving in a long end like this is you can be sure it's not going to come undone. So once you've weaved in that side, go back along the same one and try to hide it along the same route. It makes it so that it's less likely to be pulled out if you go back along the same route. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a little tug and then snip off that end. Give it a little jiggle and that will disappear entirely. Let's just do the other end down here. This was our starter down there with our slip knot. Let's just hide this little chap. I like to go inwards and then catch a couple of stitches and go all the way through some of the chunkier parts of the stitches. You don't have to be accurate when you're doing something like this. If you were using a multicolored yarn or a yarn that's got lots of different colors in it, you would want to stick to the same color if you can, if you possibly can, simply because you don't want to you don't want the end to be seen, and it will be seen if you know, if you poke blue through red or something like that, you're going to see it. So you just don't want to be doing that. Ah, it fell off. Okay, I'm just going to leave that like that actually. I think I might give it a bash. What I'm going to do is poke that through there where I want to go. See if I can't thread it the traditional way. There we are. It's a good thing about the tapestry needle, it's got such a wide end. It is easier to thread, but not always. Okay, give that a good tug and a jiggle to put it back into position. And then I'm going to snip that end off. And there we have it. So now you can leave it like that if you like, and you can edge it in white if you like, but I'm going to put a little edge in this gorgeous Glisten Cotton DK by James C. Brett. Now I know what you're thinking, this is a completely different weight. This is the oops, I've dropped the end. There's a spare one. Nope. Oh, I'm undoing something I shouldn't be undoing. The other one there, I'm just going to show you this part here, is a thicker weight to this. Now that would be a problem if it was going to be part of the main part, washcloth, because it would show up and it would be very unpleasant. But because I'm only going to use it for the edging, it's not quite so bad. Now this is ever so pretty. It's got this lovely metallic thread in it. So we're just going to pop it in. We're going to go through one of these stitches here, one of the V's there, loop over, pull up, then make a slip stitch there, and that creates a knot in there. And so I'm going to go into the next stitch and create a single crochet. I'm just going to give that a little tug because I want to weave that fella in, that little end in. So I'm going to go to the next one and just make a single crochet. Oops, I want that to lay down, not to come through this time. And make a single crochet and then go into the next one, tucking that little fella there, single crochet, and this time should be the last time we need to hide him. There we go, and if I give him a jiggle he should disappear now. So what I'm going to do is do a single crochet in this pretty little yarn. It's a cotton, the same as the other, but it does have a metallic thread, so if you choose something like that, please be careful with your wash, or if you iron it. You can iron the rest of it, but not the bit with the metallic thread in it. So I'm just going to do a single crochet all the way round. Now you can do that once or twice to add a bigger border. That's completely up to you if you want that a little bit more striking than that, which I actually think that's really pretty, just like that. But if you want it thicker, go ahead and put another one on there. If you want to add chain lace on there, you can make little chains between each one, and you do that by chaining, say 3 or 4, and then going into the next one and single crochet, and you'd create this little bump like that all the way through, and that's really pretty as well. So you can do whatever you want to edge it. You can experiment. If you're a beginner and you've followed my how-to tutorials so far, you will be able to experiment just a little bit, maybe with different size stitch. Maybe you want to try half double crochet all the way around the edge here. So when we come to the corner, I'm going to put 3 single crochets in the end here, just to take me round the edge. Now I'm going to go into that gap, and then I'm going to go into the next gap, and that's how I'm going to play it all the way through, into this big gap here, into the little gap there. Need a bit more yarn, excuse me. Now you can, if you want, jiggle your hook through there. I don't know if you can see that. Yes, you can. If you can see that, you can jiggle your hook through there, but it's just as easy to pop it through there, and there's no reason why you can't do that. Then in that one, then in the larger gap, then in the little gap, and the larger one, and obviously on the other side you're going to put it into the main stitches. When you get to the bottom there, you'll go through the bottom loop, but I tell you what, I'll get to the corner and then I'll help you go around the corner as well. Okay, so I've come along that side and I've got to the corner now, and again we're going to put 3 single crochets in that corner, and that will help take us round the corner there, round the bend as it were. Okay, now we've come to the bottom part of our foundation chain. We worked in the top link, the top loop, and then we've got this bottom loop here which is completely empty. Now you can go through all of it there, which is the quite obvious bit. If you look, there's a little hole there, and you can quite happily pop the hook right through there and single crochet into each one of those, no problem at all. Or if you would just like to go into the top loop, you can do that as well. You may find that just a little bit more fiddly. There are no rules. This is your creation. This is your washcloth, and of course choose the easiest path, because this is the easy peasy washcloth after all. So I'm making this really nice coral edging, and I like it a lot. It's not too fussy. This is actually a washcloth. It's not going to be a dishcloth for the kitchen. If I'm going to do a dishcloth for the kitchen, I'll end up making it mostly in white, to be honest, because I end up bunging them in the washing machine, maybe with a touch of bleach because dishcloths can get really yucky. So to clean those up, there's no point really doing it fancy and multicolored, although they look great if you give them as gifts. They get bleached out very, very quickly because of the amount of washing. So if I do something pretty, I usually tend to keep it as a washcloth. But of course, again, it is entirely up to you. It is your creation. You're the boss of it. So we're going all the way around. We're heading to this next corner. So we've done most of the easy parts, to be honest. We've got to go up one back corner again there. Oops, that's a bit stiff. Okay, so I'm going to skip that because that is actually our knot. I'm not sure where I'm going to go in there, so I think I'm going to actually do my 3 here in the next bit. Just past, that was where our slip knot was, so I've just gone slightly past that, which then is covering that lump from the slip knot. So that's the first one, and I'm going to go in the next one there. If you remember, the same as we did on the other side, into the little spaces. This is a space left between the 2 stitches, and this is a space in the stitch. But it makes the most convenient area to go on there. Alright, so if you keep going all the way up there, I'll meet you again at the very top corner. Okay, so I'm back up at the corner, and if you remember, we do 3 single crochets in a corner to keep it nice and neat. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, I think that's the loop from my cotton, so I'm just going to actually crochet into it. That's the loop from where I tucked in my end, so I've actually crocheted into my trim now, and that will help keep it from unraveling. So if you see a little loop like that and you can identify it as the tail that you've weaved in, do crochet into it or incorporate it into your crochet, because then that will, that will help secure it even more. Because something like a washcloth is going to get an awful lot of use, and it's going to take quite a lot of beating. It would take even more beating if it was a dishcloth, wouldn't it? Golly, it would take a lot. So I have enjoyed this colour a lot, actually. So I'm doing a final single crochet there into the one where we did our slip knot, because there wasn't an actual crochet in there. And I'm going to slip stitch into the next one there, if it lets me in, because this is an enormous hook. There we go. Actually, if I come in from the back there, that's easier. Right, there we go. Now, I like this edging so much that I have decided I want to go round again. So I'm going to go round again, and I will meet you back here when I've finished. So I've gone all the way round with that, almost all the way round. I started with a chain 1 and a single crochet into the same place. Then I went all the way round like this with a single crochet into every stitch that I had done previously, and of course you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And then into the 2, if you look, you've got 2 on the corner. Even though we did 3, there's actually 2 major stitches there on the corner. Now into those I did 2 single crochets into each one. So we went from 3 on a corner to 4. And then I'm just finishing up this. Hope it's slow enough that you can see. And then when I get to the end, I'm just going to slip stitch into my first single crochet like that. I'm going to snip it off and pull that through. I shall weave my tail in later. But let's give it a quick measure. It doesn't quite even fit in the shot there. Just about. Look at that. Oh, just about. Now, it's not been blocked, so it's not quite as square as it should be. And you can do that by gently hand washing. If you pop a little bit of fabric conditioner, that will help it. Then you'll want to pin it to either, you can get those things, you know, where you flat dry woolen products, or if it is nicely squeezed out, you can pin it to your ironing board, which is what I do. Pin it to my ironing board, and then I put another cloth over the top, and I use a dry iron, not a steam iron, just to give it a little bit of warmth, and that actually doesn't take long to dry. It eats very quickly, and what that will do is it will pin it into the exact shape it should be, but it's not bad as it is at the moment. So let me get my tape measure again. We ended up with almost 24 centimeters by not quite 23, and that's probably because of the fact it needs blocking. That works out at just over 9 inches and just under 9 inches on the other end. Okay, so let's say this is a 9-inch square in the end with everything done, and it's really pretty. So like I said, easy peasy. We started off with a chain of 30 along the bottom, then we single crocheted, chain 1 and turn, single crochet all the way across, chain 1 and turn, and we just kept going all the way to the top, where we changed colour and did 2 rows, or I did 2 rows because I like this coral edging. I did 2 rows of single crochet, and it's as simple as that. There you have it, the easy peasy washcloth. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share if you're in the mood to. Thanks a lot. Take care and happy crocheting.